Okay, this is Master Edit software, and we're going to be going through the weak words function. So what the weak words function does is it searches for common weak words like were, was, is, are, heard, felt, feel. It does both past and present tense, sound, see, saw, so forth. Go to your text editor and copy the text you want by right-clicking on it. I'm sure you know how to copy and paste, so you can either do Control-C as well to copy it. You can either right-click and choose paste, or you can hit Control-V and paste it. Then click Analyze, and then this shows the weak words that I have in this section. Now these aren't all the weak words it searches for. This just happens to be the one that are in this section. Next to each word, it tells you how many times it appears. So after a while, you're going to start getting used to, about the average time per page, like the word was will appear. And, so when it shows up 7 times, you're thinking, well, that's kind of a lot, And also, if you just wanted to see one word at a time, you can uncheck the ones you don't want to see, But typically, I keep them all checked because not that many show up, as you can see. So the first thing we can do then to get use out of this is to look for the ones that appear a lot, like was and were kind of appear a lot in this one. If it only appears one time, not a big deal, but you might still want to look at that version, look at that instance of C and can I make it stronger, or is C fine, or appear, for example. So I can look at the sentence and let's see here. Yeah, see, that would be fine, so there's no reason to change C there. But I can definitely change this were here. Not overly large, it was a house Zoe could invite guests to without feeling as if she were boasting. So this is a were I can definitely remove. And all I have to do is change it to without feeling boastful. And what also that does is and this is a first draft, by the way, but it doesn't matter because all I would do is I wouldn't focus on sentence structure at all. I would focus on flow, voice, and I'll get all that worked out, and then I would lastly work on sentence structure. You want to make sure that's the last thing you work on, because if you work on sentence structure on the second draft and then you realize that you've spent all that time rewriting a paragraph that you're not even going to use, you're going to cut out or you're going to completely rewrite. So you want to do your other drafts first. Make this be your last draft. So Master Edit would be part of your last drafting process. So anyway, what that did is it made that sentence stronger and actually shorter. Not overly large, it was a house Zoe could invite guests to without feeling boastful. Another thing you might want to do after you make a change is to read, before and after, just to make sure it flows, that you haven't ruined the voice or the flow. Another thing you want to look for when you're looking at like were and was, sometimes you want to do this with, and so you're going to have to I didn't program with into this software, but sometimes what follows the word with could be placed in front of the word. So you look for was half round. So how do I explain this? She led her through a room that was half round. When what follows the weak word, in this case was or were, and sometimes with, if what follows the word is describing a word that came before it, then you can probably move this over here as long as it doesn't make it too long. So this can be changed to she led her through a half round room, like that, and now I can get rid of this. So she led her through a half round room. So there you go, that reads better. Thick drapes hung on both sides of the curved windows that must have cost more than Zoe could save up for, because a craftsman must specially make the bowed panes of glass. So look for things like that, and places where the words that come after could describe a word that came before it. This sentence here could be changed to, like a real studio, it had a huge mixer on one part and instruments and microphone on the other. But still, had is still a weak word, but maybe it does work better than what's there. So now it reads, like a real studio, it had a huge mixer in one part and instruments and a microphone in the other. It's kind of cool because now it starts with a phrase rather than a clause. And so here also look for when it ends a sentence, because oftentimes it can be easily changed. So Zoe wasn't sure what the technical name was. Could be changed to Zoe wasn't sure of its technical name. And the reason why it doesn't highlight wasn't, the negative of was, is because typically people don't abuse it that way. So, and sometimes when people try to avoid these kinds of structures, what you end up with is something not as smooth. Zoe wasn't sure of its technical name. Its technical name eluded Zoe. I think that is not as well. It's all about preference, I guess. And another, there's no example in this particular portion that I did, but when you're looking for the word feel or felt, so if it appears in this list here, look at instances where the word feel or felt occurred, or where the word heard or saw occurred. In this case, here is fine. It's usually the past tense when heard appears, unless you're writing in the present tense. Zoe could hear them. That's fine. I don't have to say that, or change that. But if you say something like, she heard the gunshot blast or something, you can just simply write, the gun blasted, and maybe you can even say it dulled her hearing or something. But because when you're writing from a point of view character, we already know anything you write is what she can hear or see or feel. So you don't have to say she heard a gunshot blast. You can simply say it. You don't have to say she heard a gunshot blast from behind her. Simply say a gunshot blasted behind her. And it's usually stronger to write that way. And same thing with feel and felt. If you say like she felt the sharp prick of a knife at her back, you can simply say that the sharp knife pricked her back. Or get more detail with it as well. But there's no reason to use the word feel there or felt there. And what these words are called, like the word heard, saw, felt, words that deal with your senses, your five senses, taste, tasted, these are called filter words. And you really want to remove as many filter words as possible. And I'm just showing examples when you want to remove them. Okay, so that I don't think I'm leaving anything out. This is the different things you can use this for to get usefulness. This is also very useful for academic writing. Like the words like do and stuff like that. And that's why I included the present tense in there too, because a lot of academic writing is written in present tense. So that way it'll be just as useful. And if you wanted to write a novel in present tense for whatever reason, this function would still be useful.